Carolyn leads the program currently at 1,989 points. She will surely add to that at the national tournament. A couple of comments. From the first day I met Carolyn 2 years ago, and she's a 2-year wonder, and she earned 1,989 points in 2 years. I knew the potential that had walked in my room. I don't know why I knew it. I knew right away. She was someone who came in and just kind of took charge. She had that kind of impact from day one on me. The thing about Carolyn is she fights for everything that she gets. She's one of these kids who prepares well and plays the game even harder once she gets to the game. In her career at Roosevelt, she has excelled at public forum debate, extemp, oratory, impromptu. I don't know that she excelled at drama, humor, and duo, but she was pretty darn good at those events. Good enough that Western Kentucky University came calling, and she accepted a full-ride scholarship to compete there next year. Please give her a round of applause. You know, there are a lot of debate kids that I've coached over the last 9 to 10 years who I would not want to face into a debate round. Just, no, really don't need that pain. Carolyn is probably at the top of that list, to be perfectly honest, because Carolyn understands what debating is at the inner core of her soul. She understands it's a game. She understands her job is to win that game. So, you know, the legacy that I think Carolyn leaves behind is that, you know, kids can walk into this program having 0 experience as a junior, walk out of this program 2 years later having not only achieved at the highest levels in the country, but earned themselves a fully paid college scholarship. That's a pretty incredible outcome. Carolyn Evans.
So I actually had a speech prepared, but I think some explaining needs to be in order based on the oratory award and Mr. Strong's lovely introduction. So I can actually tell you the moment you realized that there was potential. It was my first day at practice, and I told you that I was going to be a national champion, and you laughed and said, "There's no way you can do that." And that made me a little angry. So I promptly gave you the signature Carolyn Evans look, glared, and said, "I absolutely can." About a week later, I started giving speeches for you and practice debates, and then we had a key conversation, and since my oratory is about the word bitch, I hope it's okay, because I'm going to talk about that, how that came to be. Because this starts when Mr. Strong comes up to me one day, and he says, "I guarantee you, at your very first tournament, you're going to pull a bitch ballot." And I'm like, "What's a bitch ballot?" "It's when a judge writes on your ballot that you need to tone it down because you're being a bitch." I have received so many of these ballots, it's not even funny. I actually once had a judge come up to me and shake my hand and say, "You are the bitchiest girl I've ever seen." And I really enjoyed it. It was a show. But at the time, the connotation of the word and the way he said it kind of surprised me, and I was like, "That's rude. Don't call me that." And he was like, "No, girl, you don't understand. This is a good thing. You want to be that." So when I first came into speech and debate, I'm sure that every smart girl in the history of ever has experienced growing up that it's not okay to be smart, and when you assert yourself, people will tend to get on your case about it. And I'm absolutely no different. Coming into the program, I had a lot of anger, and I faced a lot of adversity because of the type of person I am. I have one of those personalities which is fight all the time. And when I came into the program, having a coach tell me that was good, that was rewarding, seeing that play out was 100% everything I ever could have wanted. And there was a lot of raw anger, a lot of raw fight, and a lot of the battle over these past 2 years is learning how to tone it down, how to be appropriate, how to make that a real winning case. For me, the biggest thing I kind of take away from this program, there are 2 things that I would want to leave with you all. The first is my junior year, I had what I would call an obsession with winning. I wanted to win everything, and it completely consumed me. I was obsessed with winning, fighting for the wins, prepping for the wins, with, like Harry said, playing the game well. And this year, I decided that I was still very much in that mindset when I finished the campaign, because I had a fellowship, and so when I came back, I was very much obsessed with this desire to win. And one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to break in every single event. So I picked up every single event. And the last one I had to do was oratory. And so I decided, I had this great idea. I was like, you know, I'm not really in this to like be as good, and you know, like I have extent, you know, like I'm just going to write an oratory about something that's totally flippant and raw and just 100% everything I wish I could say, but everyone is going to drop me because it's really rough. So I wrote this oratory where I stood up, and the whole premise of the oratory is I stand up there and I go, hi, I'm Carolyn Evans, I'm a bitch, and then I explain where the word comes from, how people apply it to women to put them down, and how in my world I'm proud to be one because that makes me who I am, that makes me successful, and if you're a woman out there, then you should raise your hand and be absolutely 100% proud of your bitchiness. So that was the gist of the oratory, and I broke at the first tournament, and then I kept breaking at tournaments, but the thing that struck me is people started coming up to me outside around. Girls who were the same age, and people would message me on Facebook, and people started coming up to me, and they kept saying, your oratory, that was dope. Like, that, I can't tell you how many people came up to me and told me that that oratory meant something to them. And that meant something to me, and over time, Strong and I actually had to have a conversation about whether or not I was going to go to nationals in extemp or oratory, because although my chances were better in extemp, in oratory, every time I stood up there and I talked about my own personal battles with learning how to be a strong woman, I knew that there were girls in that room who were nodding, who were understanding that yes, you can be strong, yes, it's okay, and this is a forum where we can accomplish it. So if there's anything that I would give advice to on the underclassmen, it's that forget the rules, forget this perfect image that everyone tries to instill in you. Be the person you absolutely feel down in your heart, and don't be afraid to go for it. Everything about winning rounds is taking risks, and yes, those risks are sometimes going to fail. I have failed before, it's okay. It happens to everyone. But if you're true to who you are and what you believe in, that will pay off, and people will notice, and you can make a difference. Because I know people say forensics doesn't matter, but there were people this year that I talked to where I know that what I said changed them. And that was so much more valuable to me than a trophy will ever be. The last thing I wanted to say was I want to tell a story, because a lot of the parents in this room, I've never met you one-on-one. So hi, I'm Carolyn. I know all your kids, and I know all your kids very well because I'm around a lot. So I had a story, two actually, because I think sometimes your kids kind of lie to you. I can explain. So the first story is one at the Sioux City Sioux this year. Everyone, we were home housing, and a lot of the team was downstairs, so I went upstairs to take a shower. When I got out of the shower, one of my teammates was on the phone with her mom, and she had just done really, really well. She placed, and you could kind of hear like the little of the phone of her mom like trying to congratulate her, and she kind of looks, she's like, yeah, it was okay. So I walked over and I took the, like, let me talk to mom. Let me talk to mom. So I took the phone, proceeded to tell her, I was like, your daughter's piece is amazing. Do not let her lie to you. This is a great piece, and she did phenomenal. And she was really embarrassed, but I didn't really care because she was lying. That piece was great. But the second story was on the way back from TOC, I had a teammate on the phone with his dad, arranging to get picked up at like 1 a.m. in the morning. And I took the phone from him too, and got on the phone with his dad, and I was like, you know what, I drive, I'll bring your son home. Just so you know, your son did absolutely amazing this weekend. And after I got off the phone, he looked at me for a second, he said, Carolyn, I said, what? And then he threw his arms around me in like this really sweet, but really like, it was true hug. And he said, thank you. And to me it seemed weird that he would thank me because I've had the honor of working with all your kids, and they're all amazing. They continue to amaze me, and as like a cantankerous senior, yes, they annoy me at times, but every one of them, I've seen them overcome tremendous adversity, I've seen them with tremendous potential, and I can tell you safely that although we fight as a team, that I love every single person on this team. I would go to bat for any of you on any different issue, and I'm very proud to have been with all of you. And just so all the parents know, when your children make the little noise when you try to congratulate them, they did amazing. So, thank you guys.